Hi there, my name's Wayne Hartmann from Next9, and in the next 5 minutes I'm going to show you how to navigate your X-ray and how to gain some benefit from it. So let's get started. Right, so here is your X-ray dashboard, and the question is, so how do you interpret this? So the first place to go is to actually go and have a look at your business maturity index. Where are we on our business building journey? In this case, 37%. Typically, startups around about the 20% mark, and late stage scale-ups around, call it 70, 80%. So yeah, 37% says we've got a bunch of work to do. Then we come and have a look at the spider graph. This tells us where we are in each of these 8 different business disciplines. It tells us where we should be, the dotted line, in this case 4, reasonably complex business. The gut feel score, the purple. There's a collection of scores there. We generally think we're better than we are because the blue ones are within the purple scores. So basically, apart from capital, the rest of these all need a lot of work. So that's what we gain from this. So now we're going to go a level deeper and go and understand more about what the X-ray is actually telling us. So the first thing we do is we go and have a look at the team divergence. This section tells us, did we answer the questions in a similar way, and do we see things, the business, in the same way? And you're looking to see if there are any ticks over here. The X's mean that the divergence isn't so bad that it's going to cause a problem for you. There are always differences, but they're not major differences. Then we're going to go straight to the recommendation section, because this is where the gold dust actually is. What the recommendation section does is it lifts out the top 10. Now, if you have a coach, and we recommend that you should have one, the coach will have done a review of your X-ray and added some comments and made a few tweaks here or there. If you don't, and you've done it on your own, well, then this is what you're going to see. And by the way, if you are only doing the freemium X-ray, what you're going to see is the answers that relate to execution only. So what you'll see then is the recommendations will relate to execution, the results will relate to execution only. And if you're on the premium version, well, then you will see everything. And as I said, let's go to the recommendations, and you can see over here that there are top 10 recommendations made for you. And this is the gold dust. What you should be doing is working on these top 10 all the time. And there is a top 40. I think 8 business disciplines times 5 recommendations for each of them. But I say go and work on the top 10 all the time. So each of these recommendations, you can click on them and you can see the survey response. In this case, the team said the dynamics at the top of the organization aren't great. You can see a recommendation here on what to go and do about that. So this is the best practice recommendation. The coach has added a comment here. In this case, it looks like a culture workshop's needed. The best practice, if you don't understand this best practice, there is often a link to some additional resources from the Academy section on the left-hand side, and I'll show you that just now. In this case, it's a nano book on crucial conversations. You can click on the link and you can go into the nano book and it'll show you more. So in essence, what you've got here is an understanding of where you are. You know where you are in the life cycle. You understand the team divergence. There's a set of recommendations that you should work on. Those recommendations tell you what the survey said, gives you the best practice, a recommendation of what to do about it. It's tweaked by a coach, and it's linked to some best practice to help you with the implementation. Of course, if you need help implementing, we say get yourself a coach. Quite often, some of the stuff is aided by the experience and knowledge of a good coach. Then you also can, if you want to, you can dive into the details, the results section. So for any of these sections, and I'm going to go into the execution one because that's the one that you'll see in the freemium version, you can go into any of these sections and do a deep dive. So you can see where you are strong and where you're not. So rhythms are not good in this case. You can see the acting on lead measures is not so good in this case as well. So you can actually go and do a deep dive into any of them. And for example, on strategy, you can see there's some big gaps over here. You can go and dive into competitive strategy. You can go into defendable advantage, and you can see where you are on the practices. So you will have noticed as well that each of these disciplines have different levels or the different sub-disciplines within them. They aren't all to the same depth. So you can go and mine the data and the answers to see and get a feel for where you are stronger and weaker. The gold dust sits in the recommendation section. So that's how you use this. And if you need some additional help, you can go to the Academy section. There are a bunch of resources in 4 categories there: tools, nanobooks, videos, and articles. And there are a collection of courses that you can go and do as well. A big collection of learning resources here to help you understand what best practice looks like. So in your recommendation section, each of those recommendations will now also include the ability to manage the progress made around implementation of that particular initiative. You'll be able to create the initiative, give it an owner, track completion, submit it for approval to the CEO, and tick off that the goal's actually been achieved. And then what will happen is the business maturity index will be updated and the recommendation section will be updated as well.